Welcome to Smack This, the unofficial Godsmack podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Humphrey, where I talk all things Godsmack. This is episode 17, the Las Vegas review. This week in Godsmack news, there's been quite a lot of it. The band's been promoting the new single Surrender on social media, telling fans how to listen to it. It's on their official website. It's on their YouTube page. It's on Amazon, I believe. It's on Spotify, which is where I put it. It's on one of my Godsmack playlists. Um, but yeah, it's out there. If you hadn't heard it, check it out. It's really good. I've been listening to it sometimes 3 times a day. I really like this song a lot. They also posted some pictures from the Las Vegas show uh, by Paris Vision, the photographer. Absolutely amazing pictures as always. She's really great. Last night, the band kicked off the European tour in Cologne, Germany. Uh, I saw a little bit of snippets of video pictures last night before I went to bed, and this morning when I got up, uh, the place looked packed, which was great to see. The fans jumping up and down, singing along. The band looked like they were having a blast. They were kicking some major booty over there. Uh, yeah, it looked great. One of the video clips that really caught my eye was, and I'm not sure what was going on, but during Bulletproof, the band's not playing. Sully's singing the chorus, and then he points the microphone to the crowd, and the crowd's singing word for word, and they're super loud. And Sully, you can just see it in his face. He's really enjoying this, and he says BS, although he doesn't say BS. He says the whole word, and points the microphone back to the crowd, and they sing the next line. And it is absolutely fantastic. That's the way to kick off a European tour. So yeah, if you hadn't got your tickets, go get your tickets at the European shows or even the South American tour next month. But also the band announced some of the opening acts on this European tour, so they're going to have different opening bands. Um, in Paris, France, they're going to have a band called The Disconnected. I actually checked them out this morning. Really cool band. Uh, I mentioned them before. The Raven Age is going to be doing the UK shows and the Glasgow, Scotland show. Another cool band. I really like them a lot. In Zurich, Switzerland, a band called Motive Train. Molotov, Motive Train. I haven't heard of them, but I will be checking them out this weekend. Uh, and in Vienna, Austria, a band called the Autumn Bride. A band I hadn't really heard of, but I will be checking them out this weekend. Um, that's it for this week in Godsmack news. But yeah, check out some of these bands. Excuse me. Some of these bands that's going to be opening act. I mean, he solely picks them out. He's turned me on to bands like Monster Truck and Like a Storm and New Year's Day and Stitched Apart and some really cool bands. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking out these other two. So, let's talk about episode 17, the Las Vegas review. The show was this past Friday. They played at the Dollar Loan Center Arena. It's the very first rock show at this arena. They had 3 different bands perform before they played. A band called The Otherwise. I mentioned them before in a past podcast. They also were the opening act at the Boston show that they did. Uh, but they also had Christopher Shane and a band called Moon Fever I hadn't heard of them either, so I'm going to be checking them out. The band played a longer show at this. Uh, During the radio festival and the Boston show and the Ocean City, Maryland show, they were averaging about an hour and a half. Uh, One of the radio festival shows, they actually played an hour and 35 minutes, but that was because another band had COVID. So they were kind of extending their set list a little bit. But here they played an hour and 40 minutes. Uh, they also played 14 songs on this show. So again, they were averaging about 13. So they actually added a song. Kind of interested to see if they're going to stay with the 14 or they're going to go back to the 13. I haven't seen the Germany set list yet. I will be shortly. Plus, they did the Battle of the Drums. Now let's talk about the stage. The stage was basically the same design that they've used during the radio festival tour, the Boston and the Ocean City, Maryland. Um, if you don't know what I'm talking about, in the back is Shannon on his drum kit, and on each side of his drum kit are the guitar amps. There's lights in front of the amps, and then there's lights, what looks like on top of the amps, but they're not really. The backdrop behind Shannon is half of the logo of the When Legends Rise album cover. They have a microphone stage left, in the middle, and stage right. They used the same lighting rig that they used during the radio festival. They didn't use the same one as the Ocean City, Maryland, or the Boston show where they had like these little strobe lights. They also didn't use any lasers at this show either. Again, it could have been just the Boston show. I don't know. We'll see once the new album comes out and the new tour really starts. Maybe we'll get a different stage. They did bring the pyro back, which was awesome. Awesome to see. It was almost refreshing to see and refreshing to hear. Uh, at the beginning of the show, they had the black curtain with the big G Godsmack logo was back. They had the intro, which was that mishmash. It starts off with Tom Sawyer by Rush, which leads into Dream On by Aerosmith, which leads into um, Hey Jude by the Beatles, and then the curtain drops. It's really cool to hear. I kind of wish they would release this. This is really good. So, as the curtain drops, um, they kick off the show. It's basically the same set list as the Boston show, the Ocean City, and this one are all the same set list. The only thing they done is they added some little things here and there, especially with the pyro. So they kicked off the show with 1,000 horsepower. And at the beginning of the song, where they do that dun, 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 they stop and Sully says, "Is this where the party is?" And the crowd just absolutely goes bananas, and then they go back into the song. It's really great to see. The fire was back. As I mentioned before, the pyro, it was really great. Song number 2 was Keep Away. Absolutely rocks. Again, it was the song that made me become a fan, and the crowd was singing along. It was absolutely awesome. It was so good. There you go. Excuse me. Song number 3 was Crying Like a Beep. This song just rocks. It's been in the set list since the Oracle tour. It's one of those songs you don't really get sick of hearing. Singing along, that you could tell the crowd really loved it. Song number 4 is Unforgettable off the Legends album. And this is where Sully welcomes the crowd before they kick into the song. And even says this is the first rock show in this arena. kind of like what they did at the MGM Fenway Park Theater, across the street from Fenway Park in Boston. Um, but yeah, so it was great that they opened up this arena as far as rock shows go. Unforgettable, awesome live. I really love this song live. Um, Song number 5 was Awake. Awake started off really interesting because he hasn't done this in a while. Talking about Sully, he actually starts the song off with the talk box, and yeah, it was really cool to see and really cool to hear. And the song live, Awake, is so good. It's really great. Pyro at the end, I almost forgot about that. It sounded really great and great to see. Song number 6 is the title of the last album, When Legends Rise. I love this song live. You can tell the band really loves playing this song live. Um, it's one of those songs I really hope they don't get rid of when they put out this new album and do a new world tour. So we'll see. Um, Song number 7 is Something Different. Uh, he starts it off like he's been doing. Uh, well, actually, he started doing it during the Horsepower Tour, um, having fans make it like an old school rock show. Uh, to light up the room, he has it pitch black, turns off all the lights, and has everybody light up the room either with their cigarette lighters or the flashlights on their phone. It's really cool to see. Yeah, I really, and then the song itself is just absolutely amazing. I love this song. Um, and then at the end of the song, another part that he hasn't done in quite a while, me and Sully, um, he does some guitar distortion at the end of this song, and it's really cool to hear. And then it kicks into song number 8, which is Speak. Speak off the Godsmack 4 album. So it's still in the set list, so that's great. Anything off of the 4 album is perfect. Again, you can tell they're having fun singing the song and playing the song. The crowd's really into it. Then song number 9, which is Voodoo. I call it the icon song. It was great to see and hear the crowd singing along. But what was really cool to see again was all the fire during it. Yeah, great. It was absolutely great. Then we get into the Battle of the Drums. The Battle of the Drums, they haven't changed it since the Boston show. It starts off with Shannon coming out, and then he goes stage. If you're looking at the stage like this, he goes stage right, and then out comes Sully with his drum kit. He goes stage left. They do like this little groove song, and then they turn to each other and do some drum licks back and forth, and then or drum fills, and then there's some pyro, and then they turn to the crowd, and they do this drum medley, and the drum medley is basically the same so far. Uh, they go into Back in Black by AC/DC, which leads into Walk This Way by Aerosmith, which leads into Enter the Sandman by Metallica, and then that goes into Moby Dick by Led Zeppelin, and then it goes into Tom Sawyer by Rush, and the drums spin around. Then we get into song number 10, Whatever. Fantastic live, still great to hear live. Crowd singing along, it's so good. There you go. Yeah, it's really good. What I really enjoy about these live versions of this, especially this song, is they kind of quieten it down, and Sully kind of does his little thing. I don't really know what you would call it. It's kind of comedy relief kind of deal. Uh, but yeah, it's really cool. He actually, uh, during this show, gets Shannon to give him a drumstick, and he gives the drumstick out to a fan who has a mohawk, and Sully really was digging it. Um, yeah, so that was cool. He announces that Dana White from the UFC, who's the president of the UFC, is there, and yeah, it's really cool, and it's funny to watch. It's almost like the part where Sully kind of catches his breath and kind of relaxes a little more. But yeah, it's cool to see. And then they go back into the song, and then they finish the song, and then at the end, you catch a little bit of glimpse of "Over the Mountain" by Ozzy Osbourne being played as they finish out the song. So that was it on the regular set. Now we're going to get to the encore. Uh, Song number 11 was Under Your Scars. Before they play the song, Sully talks about the Scars Foundation and the Under Your Scars. Talks about the song, and which formed the Scars Foundation. Um, and then they go into the song. It's absolutely fantastic. I really love this song a lot. Um, and something else I noticed, or actually kind of forgotten, this song's actually got the pyro in it. And not boom pyro, but it's pyro. It's at the very back uh, where the backdrop is, and it's kind of like little sparkles of like rain coming down towards the end of the song. It's really cool to see. Like I said, I actually kind of forgotten about it because they hadn't done pyro in a while now. Um, so we get to song number 12, and that is Rocky Mountain Way, the Joe Walsh song, which is also on Live and Inspired, the Inspired EP. Sully says, "Let's do one for fun." And then he says, "Let's dedicate this song to Dana White, who's helped donate money to the Scars Foundation," which I think is very cool. Um, so they do the song. It sounds great live. Sully doing the top box part is fantastic. Yeah, check that out if you hadn't seen that yet. Check out Rocky Mountain Way, Godsmack live in Vegas, and yeah, it's fantastic. Song number 13 is Bulletproof off the last album, When Legends Rise. Again, I've said it during the Ocean Maryland show. I really hope they don't get rid of this song when the new album comes out. It's so good live. Uh, Gets the crowd really energetic. They do that whoa thing. Um, so, but yeah, the crowd was singing along. It's fantastic. And then song number 14, which closes out the show, is I Stand Alone. Uh, again, it's another one of those icon songs, I think. It's so good live. The crowd's singing along, the pyro, the fire, you name it. It's great. Uh, but yeah, that's the show. Uh, he thanks the fans, meaning Sully thanks the fans at the end. And says, "See you in 2023 with a new album and a new tour." And then a bunch of more pyro goes off, and then they take a bow and they leave the stage. Um, but yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic show. I want to thank each and every one of you who filmed this show because that was the only way I could watch it. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Again, thank you. Now, let's do some homework for this week. Homework. Did you go see this show? Did you go see the show in Germany? Are you going to any of the shows in Europe or South America, write me a comment. Let me know. What did you think? Was it great? Looked great? Or did you watch it on YouTube like me? Um, yeah, that's it for this week's homework. I want to thank each and every one of you who viewed last week's episode. Um, Next week's episode is episode 18. We're going to go with the side projects. The very first one I'm going to do is a band called Another Animal. It was a side project band by Shannon, Tony, and Robbie. They actually recorded an album. So we're going to track by track and talk about the Another Animal band. So yeah, that's next week. If you know anybody who's a Godsmack fan, likes to talk about Godsmack, hear about Godsmack, send them this way. Tell them to type in "Smack This" the Unofficial, and it'll all pop up either on Google's, Firefox, whoever, YouTube. But yeah, tell them about this podcast. Let's keep this thing going. Uh, yeah, there's a lot more stuff to talk about. And I post a new episode every Thursday. So that's it for this week. And you just got Godsmack.